Marcel, Sherry G. Welcome back to the channel. To all of my new subscribers, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to be over 2,000 subbies. Special shout out to all of the content creators who sent people my way. Um, this past weekend, Anthony Lofties gave a shout out and it brought me up to the 2,000, well, over 2,000 mark. And in the past, I know that Silva has sent people my way. Sassy T from the 803. I can't remember everyone else, but just know from the bottom of my heart that you are appreciated. So this past Saturday was the third episode of this season of Love and Marriage Huntsville, and I am going to do my commentary on that. I'm going to do it in two videos, however. One, because I just like to break it up. Two, because right now my allergies are still kicking my butt. Like, I am still congested. I'm still trying to deal with this stuff. I've been dealing with it for about 3 weeks now. But anyway, we're going to keep on pushing, right? So before I get into it, keep in mind that the views expressed here are alleged. It's of my opinion and those who choose to comment down below in the comment section, and it is all for entertainment. So yes, this past Saturday was the third episode of this season's Love and Marriage Huntsville. Now, I have to tell you that this particular episode just seemed more like scripted reality to me more than anything else. It was, to me, the most scripted of all of the episodes that we've seen on any of the Love and Marriage Huntsville shows or, airings or whatever you want to call it. And I do believe that they're just trying to keep everybody in line. So anyway, my overall view on this past episode, I'm just going to give it like a 7, I guess, a 6 or a 7. Um, it was just a little bit too scripted for me, and not authentic enough. And I understand that they're just trying to keep a certain flow, keep a certain energy, and to appease us viewers. So it is what it is. Anyway, the episode picks back up with Tisha and Kiki. They're at that kickboxing kind of joint, where they were supposed to box out their frustrations and then have a conversation around all of the things that were hampering their relationship so they can hash it out and begin their journey to healing their relationship. So anyway, they're still sitting Indian style on the floor and they're continuing with that conversation. During their conversation, Tisha reveals to Kiki that she was hurt because when Kiki was really strung out, they had gotten to an argument one day, and I think it was on the outside of Tisha's home, maybe. But anywho, they got into an argument, and Kiki told her that she didn't give an F about her and the baby that she was carrying. And it's really hurt Tisha. I have to tell you, I can understand how hurtful that can be, and I can understand how frustrating it is from a personal experience when you're dealing with someone in your family that is struggling with drugs, struggling with alcoholism. I understand the frustration. I understand the hurt, the disappointment. I understand how emotional, emotional, how emotionally it can affect you and mentally it can affect you, how draining it could be. But I also have compassion for the person who struggles with this addiction, who's fallen prey to this monster that has taken over them. And I also realize that when people are going through things like this, they're not themselves. They don't even look like themselves. They have their bodies look different. They have a total change of personality, and everything's about the drug. The drug takes over them emotionally and mentally too. So I get both sides of the spectrum, and I have compassion for both Kiki and Letitia. But as they're talking, Kiki stated that, she didn't remember that. And when I first heard it, I was like, what do you mean you didn't remember it? But then I had to sit back for a minute and think about it. Kiki was strung out. You know, I'm sure there are plenty of things that she's done that she doesn't remember outside of someone telling her, but I'm sure she can't, in her mind, picture it happening or place herself back into certain situations or in certain places or doing certain things. She just can't remember because the drugs had such an effect on her mentally, right? The drugs were taking control. So it's just like a person who you don't even have to be strung out on drugs, but you could just have a time where you're out drinking and you got so drunk you don't even remember what you did the night before. So I get where she's coming from, and I believe that she was sincere, in my opinion, when she said she didn't remember. It's very likely that she didn't. But anyway, Kiki turns around and she tells her that she was disappointed, and Tisha at this time too, because it's like she lost her best friend. Um, and then for some reason that just seemed to go right over Tisha's head, like she didn't comprehend what Kiki was saying. She said to her, "What do you mean you lost your best friend? Who?" And then Kiki told her, "You." And she said, "How did you lose me?" And I'm like, "Duh, come on." Come on, Tisha. You're not a 5-year old little girl. Like, how did that go over your head? But allegedly, in my opinion, I don't think that it went over Tisha's head as much as that was a defense mechanism due to her inability to show empathy or have compassion for other people. I feel like Tisha cannot see from another person's vantage point. Like she can only see through her own lenses. She can only relate to what she's going through and her pain, but she's unable to step inside another person's shoes and see it for them. Understand that they are suffering, understand that they are going through something. I mean, even logically, and as intelligent as Tisha is, and I believe she's intelligent, but even logically, you should be able to understand that this person is going through something, that they're out of control due to this substance. Now, one thing that I give Tisha kudos for is the fact that she stated that she was the one who actually took her to rehab. How that really all came about, I mean, whether someone else made the arrangements and she just took her and drove her down there, I don't know, because they didn't really elaborate on that. But yeah, I give her kudos for taking her cousin to rehab. Anyway, like I said, I can see where both ladies are coming from. I can see both sides of the spectrum. One thing that Tisha did mention when Kiki said that she felt like she lost her best friend, she said that she needs to take some time away to pull back because it was so much on her emotionally and mentally. And I get that. She said that she had to take a mental break. And I get that. But what I don't get, like I said, is how she couldn't see that for Mel. Like how she couldn't see when Mel was struggling and going through this awful time in her marriage, why she couldn't see it for her and have that type of compassion for her. So allegedly, this is why Tisha and the other ladies on the show have been labeled as male identified because they cannot see it for other women. They see it from the male perspective, but they can't see it for other women. So maybe that explains her inability to have that compassion for Kiki. But anyway, they begin to talk, and um, Kiki asked Tisha to let's just move forward, put this behind us, and never bring it up again. And I could see in Kiki's eyes during this whole time that they're talking. They say the eyes are the window to a person's soul. And I was focusing on just like their body language and their eyes as much as I could tell by looking through the TV screen, that Kiki's eyes seemed to be sincere and full of compassion. And to me, allegedly. And in my opinion, I feel like she really wants to mend this relationship. Like she wants it so bad. I didn't really feel that from Tisha, although she did say to Kiki that she would, put this behind her and move forward. I don't know if I'm really trusting Tisha can do that yet. She might fool me. She might be able to do it, but I don't know. And just looking at her eyes, I didn't feel like I could. I didn't feel like I could see the sincerity in her eyes. I just felt like her eyes weren't giving me that, like I'm being honest here. I don't know. We shall see. So that's all I have on that little scene out of this episode. Now, the next scene picks up with Marceau and his dad talking. Mr. Scott, he came to visit Marceau at Black. He had never been there before, and so he was proud of him. Now, Owen had dropped a sneak peek earlier, and I did some commentary about that already, but they gave us a little bit more of the scene in this episode. So I do want to do some commentary about that because I just felt like there were some interesting moments here or some interesting things said. I feel like these people sometimes say things without meaning to spill the beans, if you will. They kind of spill the beans. They gave us more information than they think they did. Like I was trying to tell Miss Wanda, we are smart and we can pick up on things. Anyway, they're continuing their conversation, Marcel and his father. And, his father is going on about how he really wants him to take time with his family. And he's trying to tell him that he wish he had done that when he was younger. He spent so many hours like working at the plant at GM and that he missed a lot of life. And so he told Marcel that one day you're going to look up and your kids are going to be grown and your wife's hair is going to be gray. And Marcel seemed to kind of get it, I guess. Like, I think he got it in his head, but I don't know if it penetrated his heart. He goes on to explain to his dad that he really has these goals. He really wants to do all of these things because he wants to leave a legacy behind for his children. And his father said something that I thought was just so interesting. It was like a wow moment for me, or an aha moment. It gave like a lot of insight to what's really happening in Marcel's life as far as scope, as allegedly, and in my opinion. His dad said that there is a difference between being busy and being productive. And I'll say that again. His father said there's a difference between being busy and being productive. And I thought, oh my God, you hit the nail on the head, because this is what we've been talking about, like all of us in YouTube land. This is what we've been saying. Like we see they say they have all of these things going on, but where is the product? Like what are they producing? We haven't seen anything. Like we haven't seen anything. We haven't seen the results. So anyway, I don't know if Marcel got that. I really don't, because later on in a conversation with him and Letitia, he goes on to say that, he goes on to list all of these projects that supposedly he has going on. And then he also mentions, that he's bringing a new partner on because this gentleman knows more than him and is more experienced than him. So I'm thinking, Marcel, if he does have all of these things going on, it's just like being a jack of all trades and a master of none, allegedly, and in my opinion. And actually, when his dad was saying this, in my mind, I could see like Marceau being this hamster on a wheel and just going, 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 but going nowhere. So he wants to create this legacy. I get it. And I feel like allegedly it's because of his background. Like maybe they just were pretty poor and didn't have a lot of anything, and he doesn't want to live that life anymore. But it's like he's not going about it the right way to achieve his goals the right way. So hopefully bringing this new partner on, this guy named Gino, hopefully that will actually help get things in the right direction. I mean, who knows if we'll even see where the show is going after this season. Um, his dad also goes on to tell him that God took a day to rest. And so trying to encourage him to at least take a day to rest. Like you don't have to take a lot of time, but take a day to rest. And what I find so interesting, and I've heard other people say it too, that Marcel took time to take 30 whole days away to rest, to take a mental break by himself. But he can't take any time to be with his family. And like I said before in an earlier video, this has been one of Tisha's gripes. Anyway, like I said, I'm not doing all of my commentary in this video. So that is all I have for you for right now. If you haven't done so, hit the like button on your way out, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell because I will be back. Until then, ciao.